Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Today and thank you very much for honoring our invitation. Today's meeting, we're going to talk about the Presidential Employment Stimulus Funds, which is very exciting for most of us because this is the first time, but it's also nerve-wracking. The purpose of the meeting is actually to talk about it in detail. What is it about? Who's eligible for funding? And also the timelines. My name is Puleng Desana. I'm the Arts Development Officer responsible for innovation, design, and creation. My role today is quite easy. I'll be facilitating and chairing the session. So this is a briefing session for those of you are wondering why you're here. You're here to be briefed about this, the Presidential Employment Stimulus Funds. We're going to have a PowerPoint presentation. This is how we have a PowerPoint presentation. Balisa, there's a noise background. Please manage that. We have a PowerPoint presentation which takes you through to explain what this program is about. And also we have built-in guidelines to take you through the timelines as well.
Ospelem, please unmute. Sorry, I had to mute everybody.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh,
it does that. When I mute everyone, it mutes you as well.
Also, you muted me. Okay, let me start afresh. The program, this is how it is. We're going to cover the PowerPoint presentation, which now take you through to what this Presidential Stimulus, Employment Stimulus Funds is about. And we're going to also take you through the guidelines, and later on, we're going to take you through the online application form, because you can see that as you have been aware for the past 2 years, NAC has migrated to online system. So with this system, we're going to do the online system. We're going to apply, everyone is going to apply through the online system. The first part of the presentation will be then led by Eugene Moladana. Eugene, can wave your hand. She is the senior senior project manager for the Presidential Employment Stimulus Funds. We're going to have a chat group, a chat actually, that is going to be managed by our PMs, which is our project managers, by the name of Andrea, Zola, Manziwe, Nomalanga, Nolita. And if I've really missed other people, please forgive me. So we're going to have a chat. If you have a very burning question and you really feel that you can't wait for the last minute, you can then send your question on the chat, and then we will respond. This is how this system works, and this is how this process works. We are all aware that we are on Zoom. So this, the process here is that we wait for the presenters to go through the presentations, and you will see at the bottom of your screen, you have mute, you have stock video, you have participants, you have chat, you have share screen, record, or reaction. So what is important to the participants is the chat and the reaction. So the chat, you will type in, state your name, and also your question, then we will respond. Please do not share the screen, because half of the time for the past few presentation and meetings we've had people wanting to share, and it had really distracted us. So the icons that are important to you is the chat and the reaction. So for those who don't know, the reactions, we have two things. We have a thumbs up, you have also a wave. Wave, you use it for asking a question. If you're clear and you're happy, use a thumbs up. And I will then, I don't know, Eugene, do you want me to introduce you? But before I introduce you, I want to state the important thing that we all have to start on as participants and also the presenters. The stimulus funds that we're going to present to you is not from the NAC funds. It's not from the DAC funds, neither is from the National Treasury. The funds are from the President's office. So it's important that you are aware that these funds, unfortunately, we don't have much control over it. We are just an implementing agency. We're going to be very, very strict in terms of timelines, and we wish you could bear with us. But before then, I bore you with so much information. I'd like to introduce Eugene to do the presentation and give us a warm welcome. Eugene, are you ready?
Thank you very much, Puleng. If I could just remind everyone just during the presentation to keep your sound muted, because it does interrupt and disrupt the presentation if we get some feedback. Tolani, I see you are not muted. Perhaps if I could ask you just to mute, but there's no feedback coming from you for now, but just to be cautious as we go through the presentation. I'm going to switch off my video during the presentation, and then I will come back on video once we start taking questions and answers. We will note 3 questions from the chat board as they come through, and then after that we'll take 3 questions from the floor. If we are not able to answer all of your questions at the session, we are posting the questions that are raised in the session on the chat board, and we are giving full detailed answers, and we're going to post that onto our website, so you'd have the responses available to you in writing on our website later. The ones from Friday will be posted later on this afternoon onto our website, and the questions that come through from this session today will be posted onto our website tomorrow afternoon. Please note that we do have 3 more sessions rather, coming up. One tomorrow at 10 o'clock, another one on Thursday at 10 o'clock, and another one on Thursday at 2 p.m. Please invite other people or let other people know that we have these sessions lined up, and ask them to apply for this program. With that, I'll stop with my video, and then I'll put up the presentation. Thank you very much. So here we are with what we have now called the Presidential Employment Stimulus Program. Please note that this is a project in the President's office. It is not a DSAC project. It is not an NAC project. And we are part of many organizations that are part of this program. So what does the Presidential Employment Stimulus Program mean? So this is a project that is coordinated by the Project Management Office in the Presidency. It is positioned as a public investment in a mass employment strategy to build a new economy. Phase 1 of this program involves 15 national departments in all provinces, in all metros. And through this program, 800,000 job opportunities we hope will be created, with a spend of 14 billion allocated across government departments. For the creative, cultural and sporting sector, this program is meant to get artists, cultural workers and the sporting sector on the road to recover as we consider the effects and the impact of COVID-19 on the arts and culture and heritage sector. What does this mean for the NAC? It means that the Presidency has made allocations available to many government departments to stimulate the economy. It is not part of the NAC budget. This is not an NAC program or initiative. The NAC has been given an allocation from National Treasury via the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. The NAC is working with the NFVF to distribute and manage an allocation of the PSP for the DSAC, that's for the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture.
Sorry to stop you, Eugene, before you continue. Yes. On the chat, so there's 2 suggestions. One is asking if we can make the presentation full, and the other one says they can't see the presentation. I don't know if you can expand.
Is that better, Puleng?
The viewing, no. I mean,
it would be better if you go slide view.
Yeah, slide view.
Begin slide so that you occupy with your slides the screen. Are you in control of your presentation?
Absolutely. This is better. Thank you.
Okay. So in terms of the PSP, the portion that the National Arts Council is managing, we have 2 streams. So we have stream 1, which is focused on job retention via a wage subsidy rather. And I'll be able to get into more detail in terms of what stream 1 means and what job retention is, and explain that a little bit more. In terms of stream 2, this is where we start to look at projects. So as we understand from our sector, the way that we create opportunities, the way that we create jobs is through projects. So we then decided that we wanted to split it, because the purpose of this program is really to pump money back into the arts and culture sector, hence the job retention part, which is the stream 1 part. So that's about, as an example, if you were a theatre and you had to close your doors during COVID-19, you therefore struggled to make any form of income, you struggled to pay staff. So this program is in stream 1 is meant to support, for example, individuals or employees who worked within organizations, and the organizations and the entities were struggling to pay those employees. So that's stream 1. It aims to support that group of people. In stream 2, this is focused on projects. This is about creating employment, but as I had mentioned already before, that we know how to do this as the sector through projects. So what does all of this mean? It means that the sector has 2 different options that they can apply to. So this is you, the sector, that you've got 2 different options that you can apply to. Because the NAC is accepting individual and organization type applications for both streams, it means that there are 4 different kinds of applications that the NAC will receive. The 2 streams have been crafted to speak to the Project Management Office in the Presidency's request for the PESP to cover both job retention and new opportunity creation. This means that the NAC has 2 different objectives to achieve with the PESP. In the call for stream 1, what we do take note of is that many institutions and organizations in the sector are facing the prospect of job cuts as a result of loss of revenue. Organizations, institutions, SMMEs, and individuals or sole traders find themselves in a position where they're struggling to retain their staff complement. In this call, the sector will apply for a wage subsidy to retain employees that they already have on their payroll or on contract. So let's just take a minute and pause at this point and just think about this. So this is for employees, and this is for employers who've been struggling to pay staff. So in stream 1, you can then apply to subsidize to some extent the salaries that were lost due to COVID-19. At this point, I'm just going to request that somebody who's on my screen, if you just try not to mess with the screen, because then you start creating lines on the screen. Thank you so much. And what is a wage subsidy? So a wage subsidy is an allocation towards a monthly salary. It does not necessarily cover a whole salary. And this is very important. So we've been receiving, for example, questions where somebody says, but I'm the director or I'm the senior person within the organization. I was earning 35,000 Rand a month. And now you want me to earn the same salary as the person who maybe sits at reception. This is what this program is meant to be. It is not aiming at covering your whole salary as you've earned before, but rather it makes an allocation towards what would normally be a monthly salary. This means that it does not matter what your actual salary amount is. The wage subsidy is a fixed amount aimed at helping employers to retain their staff. So let's take note of this again. The wage subsidy is a fixed amount aimed at helping employers to retain their staff. So it does not matter what your previous salary was. This is the intention of this program. And we believe that it is a wonderful opportunity for the sector, particularly as we struggle through COVID-19. So in stream 1, you will find that these are the guiding questions that we have put onto the application form on our grant management system, otherwise what we call GMS within the NAC. So it asks, are you an organization applying to retain current staff that you have on a payroll? Are you an organization employing for staff that you have on contract? Are you an organization applying for one or multiple internships? Are you an individual applying for an assistant as an example? Are you an individual applying for individual or freelance staff, such as framers, art hangers, designers, makeup artists, just to name a few. So are you an individual applying for individuals to assist you during whatever project or program it is that you're running, or whatever organization it is that you're running. In the call for Stream 2, this is an open call that is aimed at soliciting proposals from the sector that demonstrate opportunities to create work in order to get the sector moving and income flowing. The PESP acts here as a catalytic injection of income into the economy that enables ambitious proposals that create multiple opportunities for employment and collaboration. These kinds of projects energize the entire value chain and have a multiplier effect. It is essential that the sector dictates what kinds of projects are necessary at this time, and so we welcome ideas from the sector. So I know that in the last session we talked about ambitious, and somebody asked the question, say, if my project is not ambitious enough, would you not fund it? No, we just put some ideas out there, and I think that we have a very creative and interesting sector, and I think the kinds of proposals that will come through are going to absolutely amaze us and are going to be wonderful. And these are projects that we really want to stimulate the economy and to really get people back working and to put money back into particularly our sector that has been so affected. Nelson Mahashi, can I please ask you not to tamper with my screen? Thank you very much. So what is a project? So what is a project? So we're looking at market access opportunities, exhibitions, performances, shows, events, festivals that are COVID-19 restriction compliant. And we'll talk about what that COVID-19 compliance is. For example, we're looking at community outreach and arts activation projects, technical arts programs, creation of new works, heritage projects that include women, youth education, indigenous knowledge, research, and so on and so forth, and a number of applications or projects. So we've just given an idea of some of the projects that we could be looking at. And like I said before, there's so much more, I believe, that is available within the sector and that you can put through to the National Arts Council. And of course, we have no restriction in terms of, as long as they are art related, they relate to our arts and culture and heritage sector, please feel free, wow us, show us what amazing stuff and we have within the sector. So in Stream 2, what is it that we are looking for? And these are some of the guiding questions that we have put onto our application form in GMS. Are you an individual or organization applying for a new project? So take note. So one is to look at new projects in the arts and culture sector that can be completed by 31 March 2020 that will create new employment opportunities. So we're looking for a new project that must be completed by 31 March and that will create employment opportunities. In terms of the dates, can we just note that these are the dates that have been set, that have been given to us, that we have no control over. So these projects are going to run for 3 months, January, February, March. If your project runs beyond 31 March 2021, do not apply for it unless you are applying only for the portions that can be completed between January and March 2021. Are you an individual or organization applying for an existing project that can be completed by 31 March 2021 that will create new employment opportunities? So here, there could be an existing project. There could have been a project that was, for example, started prior to March when the lockdown happened, and you want to continue with that project, or you're looking for additional funds and you want to augment your funding. So as an example, this is open to, as an example, and we know that there are several other funding institutions out there, but as an example, if you did receive funding from the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, or you did receive funding from the National Arts Council, you will be able to apply to this program because normally or ordinarily, if you've received funding from the NAC and you have an existing project with the NAC, we won't fund you for a new project. In this case, this is very different. These are not the National Arts Council funds. These are funds that come from the Presidency. And so we welcome applications from existing NAC applicants or beneficiaries and existing DSAC beneficiaries. So we're looking for projects that would have existed prior to the time of application. And obviously it must again be completed by 31 March 2021. We understand that this is rough. This is rough for us as a project management team to try to make this happen. It's rough for the sector, but this is what we have been given. There's a great opportunity, and I ask that we all take up this opportunity, and it's going to be hard work for all of us, for us at the NAC, I'm sure for the NFEF as well, and for yourselves, those that are working in the sector. Are you an individual or organization applying for a new project in the heritage sector? Are you an individual or organization applying to create workshops, as an example? So there could be several opportunities and possibilities that could come through in stream 2. So when we talk about COVID-19 compliance, we obviously need to make sure that all projects demonstrate their compliance with the National Risk Adjusted Lockdown. We are currently at level 1. We don't know what we could be at tomorrow, but we just need to take note of the National Risk Adjusted Lockdown levels at any particular time during the project between January and March 2021. So take note that, so the other question that came up was, do all of these projects that you're looking for have to be online programs and projects that are done on online systems? And I said, absolutely not, but we just need to be cognizant of what the COVID-19 restrictions are, because there are many projects that can still happen that don't have to be virtual projects or don't have to be put onto online platforms. But obviously, I think COVID-19 has changed the way in which we operate. So we welcome those innovative and creative projects that can be done on online platforms, but this in no way, it does not cut out the person who is not going onto an online platform. So just to note that for everyone. What is the funding threshold? So the NAC has taken direction from the Presidency and DSAC to assess the proposals and funding requests based on the ambition and merit of the project. Again, that word came up last week Friday, ambitions. If my project is not ambitious enough, will you not fund it? And a point was made that, so if I'm just making crafts, will you not fund me? I think that there are very ambitious projects within the craft sector, as an example. So this does not mean that don't look also at your craft or at the work that you do as not being ambitious. But of course, we are looking for exciting, maybe that's a better word to use, for exciting, for new ideas, and even for existing ideas that really stimulate employment within the economy. And so we ask you to go creative in terms of your presentations for this. As such, no threshold to the funding amount per project will apply. This means that you can apply for 500,000. This means you can apply for 100,000. This means you can apply for $1 million, because normally we would have some restrictions within the NAC, but for certain projects we don't exceed 500,000 per project funding. This does not apply within for this program. So as long as you are creating jobs and creating opportunities within the sector, you're not restricted in terms of the amount of money that you can apply for, but we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through the presentation. As much as we talk about no threshold, there are guiding costs per opportunity, and I'll talk a little bit more about what opportunities are. So in stream 1, we say that an opportunity is capped at 16,600 Rand over 3 months, over January, February, and March, which equates to 5,333 Rand and 33 cents, for example, per month. But of course, for one opportunity, you can get 16,600 Rand. In stream 2, for one opportunity, you're able to apply for 25,000 Rand over the 3 months. So what does a guiding cost mean? It means that the project management office in the Presidency has calculated a certain amount that should be spent on a single opportunity over the period of funding, which is January to March 2021. This can be a once-off payment within a project or paid over the period of the project. So if we go back up here, we talked about 16,600 Rand in stream 1. You can use that in 1 month, or you can spread it over 3 months, January to March. The 25,000 Rand here again, use it in 1 month or spread it over 3 months or use it over 2 months. But one opportunity costs 25,000 Rand. So that's what you'll be able to get. So let me explain what this means. So So when we talk about an opportunity, we talk, for example, about a job, about a person. So for argument's sake, in stream 1, let's say you're applying just for job retention. You have 10 staff that you want to apply for funding for. It means that you'll be able to apply for 16,600 Rand per person over the 3 months. So that would equate then to 5,333 Rand, for example, per month for each person if you're wanting to pay them monthly, or 16,600 Rand over the 3-month period. Again, that's just the maximum. You could decide to apply for 15,000 Rand per opportunity for a person in stream 1. You could decide to apply for less than that, but that's what's available per opportunity. In stream 2, here an opportunity is linked to a person and a project, because a portion of the funds can also be used in the project. So as this program at the Presidency is meant to be an employment, and let's take note of that, an employment stimulus program. What this means is we're looking at jobs, we're wanting people to work, we're wanting to create employment. It's meant for employment. But what we said to the Department of Arts and Culture, as well as to Treasury and the Presidency, is that this sector, while it's wonderful that we can get funds for staff to pay salaries, we also require some part of the funds to be put towards projects, project costs. So we can get all of these people together, create these opportunities, but what happens to the project costs? And so they came back to us and they said, fine, we've heard your plea, so here's how we'll do it. And this is what I'm going to explain, and this is purely an example. So this is in no ways what it should be exactly, but this is an example that I would like to share with you. So for example, let's say you have 4 people that you want to apply for in stream 2. That means you can get 100,000 Rand, because in stream 2, one opportunity equates to 25,000 Rand. Can I just pause for a second, please? Okay, my apologies, I'm back. Are you able to hear me? Okay, great. Thank you. So what does this mean? So for example, if you had 4 people that you wanted to apply for, you have a project, 4 people, you'd be able to get 100,000 Rand, because it's 25,000 Rand per opportunity in stream 2. What that means is when I see a proposal coming through from your project, I am going to see 100,000 Rand in your budget. I immediately start looking at your proposal and I want to see 4 opportunities. However, from that 100,000 Rand, you would be able to spend up to 50,000 Rand of the 100,000 Rand on project costs. So basically 50% more or less. So this is a maximum, it's up to, so it doesn't mean you have to spend all 50,000 on project costs. But since we're making 25,000 Rand available for an opportunity here, and you have 4 opportunities, that would give you 100,000 Rand. However, you could use up to, so you can use 10,000 Rand, you can use 20,000 Rand, you can use 15,000 Rand towards your project costs. Because it's one thing to be able to pay for staff, but sometimes you also need some of those funds to go towards project costs. This is a complex concept to grasp, even for us, and it's taken us a lot of time to get our heads around this. But all I ask you to think about, and we keep trying to find a simpler way of explaining this, and perhaps a simpler way of explaining it is to say, an opportunity in stream 2 as an example. I think stream 1 is pretty straightforward. It's just for job retention, 16,600. It's easy and simple to understand. Stream 2, it's 25,000 Rand an opportunity. An opportunity can be a person and a partial project. That is what an opportunity is. Perhaps as we go through it, as we discuss this a bit more, and we've brought in some new creative thinkers onto the team, we might find a way of crafting this differently and explaining it differently. But at the moment, this is the way that we understand it. The second example that I've created, which is very much like the first example, is, for example, if you had only 2 people within your organization or within a project that you're going to run, what that means is that you'd be able to apply for 50,000 Rand, and you'd be able to use up to 25,000 Rand in your project costs. And then the other 25,000 Rand goes towards your human resource costs. And that 25,000 Rand you would be able to spend over the 3 months, and you as a project manager, as an organization, can determine and decide how you want to split that. But all you have is 25,000 Rand per opportunity for you to spend over 3 months. And as it's difficult, I know, for you to understand it, it's been rough for us to understand it, and we still keep asking questions. And we're all trying to figure this out together. And we're trying to put more information together so that we can also try to explain this in a perhaps a simpler or bigger or better way to the sector. But I will try to answer your questions around this at the end of the presentation. So one opportunity is the term used for creating one income earning position. Right? So that's what an opportunity is. It's a term that is used for creating one income earning position. In stream 2, this cost can contain costs that are not salaries and wages, as I've just explained, but the non-human infrastructure costs cannot exceed 50% of the guiding figure per opportunity. In stream 1, we are only funding human infrastructure. Hence, the full amount per opportunity will go to a person's wage as a wage subsidy, right? So this is a wage subsidy. So we're not paying the normal salaries that perhaps the sector is used to, but this is a wage subsidy. Note that one application can contain multiple opportunities in both streams. So for example, in stream 1, there can be multiple opportunities here. And these opportunities, of course, are related to a wage subsidy. So you can apply for 10, you can apply for 2, you can apply for 100. In stream 2, so you can apply for multiple opportunities. So we also just want to note that. The deadline for completion of this project, ladies and gentlemen, is 31 March 2021. We have negotiated, we've fought, we've cried, we've argued, we've done all sorts of things. We've said we struggle when we give 1 year funding, reports never come in on time. How are we expected to do this in 3 months, from January to March? How are we expected to finish this project by 31 March 2021? And we've come to the realization that this is not going to change. We have no control over it. Government is making a lot of money available to the sector, and we have 3 months within which to spend this and within which to report and close off this project. And as you raise questions, probably the questions that you raise are the questions that we have sat and raised and struggled with, but we are also very grateful for this. So we've decided to hit the ground running and make this happen, and we're inviting the sector to join us on this journey and to do the same and to hit the ground running and just move on with this. At this point, I'm going to stop and I'm going to hand over to Puleng to take us through the rest of the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eugene, for a smooth introduction and a smooth presentation. Before I then continue from where you left off, I would like to address 2 things, and I think they will keep coming as questions. Deep was asking permission to record the presentation. I would like to inform everyone that the information will be available on the website. If you are recording, you can, it's your choice, but the same recording that you will be doing is the same recording that we're doing. So you'd rather wait for us to give you the proper recording. And Beverly, I see that you're concerned about the creatives. Unfortunately, I think the cap for this participation is only 100. So please share the information by telling the creatives that the presentation will be published and will be on the website. So whoever missed today's date, they can join tomorrow, or they can go to our website for further information. So Eugene, you can now, thank you very much. I am going to take you through the dates for the PSP. And what does this mean? It means we can't roll over the funds into a new financial year. everything should be finished by the 31st of March. So it's important when you decide to apply, you need to ensure that your activities do not exceed beyond 31st of March. I would like everyone to understand that it places more emphasis on monitoring than we ever have to do. And to guard against the risk of the NAC of funding a project that is not able to make its own deadline. So it's important that you have your own deadline and own up to them and ensure that they meet the deadline that we aligned to, which is the 31st of March. The keywords and the concept that you all have to be made aware of for the PSP, the deadline of the 31st makes for challenges. Yes, it does. However, this is a short-term injection of funds into a art sector. It does not. It does means that the PSP is not an answer to all the problems of the sector faces, and as a result of national lockdown and measures curb the spread of the COVID-19. While the NSC understands the sector might need other kinds of support, such as with costs that have incurred over the past 6 months, unfortunately, the PSP is not geared towards that kind of assistance. So it's important that you're much more aware that we're trying to provide a relief through the President's funds. So it's not a solution to the current problems that we have. The NEC is acutely aware that trying to complete a project within 3 months is very hard for our sector. However, we cannot change the deadline. And it's also going to be very hard. While it's hard for the applicants, organization, whether individuals and also organization, it's also hard for us at the NAC to manage a project with such a very tight deadline. This is not a deadline set by the NAC. I will emphasize that. It's important that you're made aware of. It's not a deadline that is set by NAC, DAC, or National Treasury. It has been set by the Presidency. So please bear with us. We're trying our level best to give you the process that is easy, and we'll try and service you with good service, and we have added capacity. So it's important that you are aware that we also try our level best. So the dates for the PSP, closing date for the stream 1 is on the 20th November 2020. We can't move beyond that. We have to stick by the 20th November 2020. Announcement of stream 1 outcomes from the 1st of December. Sorry about that. It's going to start from the 1st of December. Closing date for stream 2, it's on the 27th November 2020. The announcement of stream 2 outcomes will be announced in 2 sessions. If you apply before the 14th, your project outcomes will be from the 1st December 2020. I'm so forward. I think I'm not really current. The 1st of December 2020, that's where you'll get your announcement. If you apply after the 14th November, your project outcomes will be known from the 21st December 2020. Jenny can move to the other slide. Let's talk about compliance. And it's important that we understand the importance of complying when you submit the application form. One of the most important compliance that will be used to judge your application will be examples of your individual application. If you're applying as an individual, your samples of work will be used, and for organizations, previous work in the form of photographs, brochures, video, other published printed materials, a valid text clearance certificate. And I would want to inform everyone that we are very much aware that SARS does not only give text clearances, it gives status, a text status compliance. So that information with the PIN, that's what we really want. We keep getting the question that SARS does not does not issue text clearances. We are very much aware, but we need to know the status. Certified copy of the ID of the main applicant, not older than 3 months. Certified company registration. This is not for any individual, it's mainly for the organization. And we've been made aware on Friday that not all police stations do certified copies, so you can still give us a copy of the registration as long as it's valid. As pay slips and other proof of payments to employees, such as bank statement, contract, and proof of bank account on a bank letterhead. Stream 2, compliance document. For individuals, certified copy of their ID, not older than 3 months. A valid tax clearance certificate, proof of bank account must have the name of the individual on the letterhead of the bank, full curriculum vitae, which is CV, and also we can allow a biography because we've learned that most of our creatives would prefer to have a biography. So please note that we do accept a biography in replacement to the CV. Example of your previous works, it's very important. Photographs, brochures, videos, and other published printed material. A reference letter, signed and dated. It's important that your letter is signed and dated from either an art organization, client, well-known artist, or community leader, including their full address, details, validating your work in the area, not more than 18 months. For organizations, certified copy of the ID, not older than 3 months on one of the barriers of the organization. It means people that are leading the project or the organization. It can be a coordinator, director, and also maybe a CFO or a managing director. Those are the 2 people that are important to have their ID certified. Original valid tax clearance certificate of the organization is important. Proof of bank account must have the name of the organization on the letterhead of the bank. Certified copy of the organization. As I would say, we have learned that all the documents are not always certified. So it's important that you give us the valid document so that we can verify as well. CV of the main applicant. It's important that as organization, the person who's leading the organization or leading the project should give us the CV so that the panel can also have an idea who is leading and whether the person has got a very strong art background. It's important that the applicant attach the CV or a biography. Example of the organization's previous work in the form of photographs, brochures, videos, and other published printed material. Also, a reference letter is important that it needs to be dated and signed from either an arts organization, client, well-known artist, or community leader. The sound background listener, you can steal a few seconds from us. Can you please mute? Thank you. A reference letter, repeat. A reference letter, sorry about that. A reference letter signed and dated from either an arts organization, client, well-known artist, community leader, including a full address, contact details, validating the organization's work, not older than 18 months. Here are frequently asked questions. We thought for the benefit of everyone, we need to share with the public. These are some of the questions we always get to be asked. Can an applicant apply to both streams, 1 and 2? Yes, to cut it very short. Can an applicant apply more than once? An applicant can only apply once in one stream and twice in second stream. An applicant should provide evidence of being able to manage more than one project. So it's important when you decide to apply in both, you need to give us an evidence that you are capable of managing both streams and managing both projects. Can a public institution, DSC entities apply? I'm sure we have maybe one of the participants and they're also curious about that question. Yes, the public institution agencies of DSEC can apply for projects in Stream 2. Can existing NAC beneficiaries applying for existing project, which is the PSP? Yes, they can. Do funds have to be spent by the 31st March 2021? Yes. Can the funds be dispersed after the 31st of March 2021? No. It's important that you note that the project should be completed by the 31st. So there's set time by mid-March, we need to have received the reports and all documents that we will need according to the contract and had compliance. So by the 31st, we need to have paid all the money. Jenny, can go back. You can go to another slide. Continuing with the asked frequent questions, can Eugene? Eugene? Can you move to another slide? Sorry, Eugene. Sorry about that. I think we
Hey, Bling, the presentation is stuck, but we are at the end anyway. It just won't move forward. My apologies, I'm pressing.
Sorry about that.
But perhaps
Can
I can just... Yes, you've got the questions in front of you, so it's just the last few ones that you can note. It's just
thank you very much.
one page.
Continue with the ask questions. I hope that we all are paying attention. Can there be a variance of opportunity in the opportunity cost? Yes, the opportunity cost has to be calculated as an average. It could be a once-off cost or spread over 3 months. And I think Eugene touched on it in length. This other question is, can you add cost other than the direct employment costs? Yes, in stream 2, it's geared towards a project. However, the average opportunity cost should be kept as a guide, and the cost other than direct employment cost should not exceed 50% of the budget. Can an application be considered after the deadline? No. All the applications have to be submitted within the allocated period. A hard copy application accepted? No. We all have migrated to, NAC has migrated to online, so everything should be submitted online. We have a grant management system that you can use, and it's linked on our website. Whenever you need information, you will be able to go to our website and be able to be guided how to go to the link. Can an application be submitted without all the compliance documents? No. Unfortunately, the application will be considered incomplete and will not be submitted to the panel that have to really make a final decision, and the council to make a final decision regarding the project. Is the NAC following its funding programmatic approach? This is the question that we always get on the phone, on email, everywhere. Unfortunately, no. We're not following our art platform program, capacity building, innovation, design, creation, social cohesion, nation building, and strategic initiative. But all arts disciplines, we do support them. So you'll see the application will have questions and will also want you to state your discipline. And I think we've tried to list as many as we can. But if your discipline is not listed, please state other and state what is the discipline. I think we're coming right to the end. I think we want to state that this is a very interesting process for us. We're all learning, just like you are scratching your head, we're also scratching our head. We're trying to figure out how we're going to manage this. So please note that this is a new territory for us. We would really appeal for patience, and we will also be patient with you guys. And I think my presentation has come to an end, and thank you very much for listening and for bringing us your ears. And Eugene, I think you can now move to the application form.
Thank you very much, Buling. I'm now going to go through the application form. So when you get to the application form, you are going to be required to register. So you use your email address and you will get a notification from the grant management system, or GMS, that you have registered, and you'll get a password. You log in. Once you've logged in, this is the page that you come to. You're able to all see this. I'm going to go very quickly through this portion of the presentation because there are so many prompting questions here that we've tried to make this application as simple as possible. And so the trick to getting this right is to read, is to think, and to try to understand what some of the questions are here. So this is the page that you will find yourself on, and when you land after you've registered or logged in. And here at the bottom, there are 4 different tabs. So one is I want to apply for the new PSP funding. One is I want to go to an existing project. So here, this is somebody who started an application, and then you'd be able to go to this section. or you can go to the NAC GMS homepage, or you can go to our section with frequently asked questions. That's what Buleng has taken you through. So if we can just talk through here, what we have is stream 1, which is the job retention wage subsidy. So it tells you about the compliance documents that are required here. And it also explains that the average job retention cost has been calculated at 16,000 Rand per month, over 3 months rather, not 4 months. I think at the time that we did this application form, we thought we'd start the program sooner, but it's for 3 months from January to March. And these are just the compliance documents that Buleng has already taken us through. We also have these here when you come onto the application form. And then here it just tells you on stream 1 what the closing dates are and when we will begin to announce the outcomes for stream 1. Stream 2 gives you some more information that we have already taken you through in this presentation. It also tells you about the compliance documents that Buleng has talked through for stream 2. And then lower down here, it reminds you of the closing date as well as the announcement process that we will be using. And then it asks you, what kind of applicant are you? Are you an individual applicant or are you an organization? And then this also prompts you and takes you to the right place, either to apply as an individual or to apply as an organization. If you don't have all the documents that are required as an organization, we ask you then to apply as an individual. I'm going to go to an existing project and I'm just going to take you through one of the applications and show you what that looks like. So here, this is an application that has been done for an organization. At the top here, it asks for your company or institution information. So your company name, how long has your organization been in existence, what your tax number is if you, well, suppose you would have to have a tax number because you are required to be tax compliant. And then here we ask for the representative's details. And here we ask for the institution details. And here we ask for your organization history. So history of the organization or group and sector and your experience within the arts, culture, and heritage sector. We then have a section that asks for your organization's objectives. And then here we ask for your management details. So you can add these one by one. And as you add a person's name, you click add, and then that adds it. You'll then see a list come up here. So maybe I should just make an example and show you what that looks like. Okay. Okay, so then you'd add it and then it comes up here and then you can put in another person's name and then you add it and then you just see a drop down of more names coming into that section there. Same with the employee breakdown. You'll be able to put in the same information and then click add. Now at this point you can save your application and you can come back to it later and complete it, or you can click next and go to the next portion of the application form. Here, when we get to this portion of the application, we are talking about the project details. So we're looking at the start date of your project, the end date of your project, the duration, which is only 3 months, the discipline that you're applying under, either it's a multidisciplinary program, craft, dance, heritage, and so on and so forth, which province you're from. And then here we want to now know about the project that you're applying for. So here we're asking you to tell us about the project that you're applying for. We're asking you to, as you tell us about the project, just to note these 10 points. So, because this is what you are going to be scored on. So is there artistic merit? Is there creativity? Is your project innovative? Is there economic spin-off? And you scored in this. So this is just a guide. So for example, so like the question came up, if you see me doing a craft project, you might assume that it's not an innovative project. It is. And we're just going to look at, and if you don't have new technologies, that's fine. We're going to look at everything else because it's not just one thing. but it's a number of things that we want to look at. But certainly artistic merit is one that has to be very important and key when you answer this. Is it sustainable? Sometimes projects can be sustainable, sometimes they're not. But what kind of market access does your project provide, as an example? So it's a number of things that we ask for. It's not just one. It doesn't also have to be all of them, but these are the things we ask you to think about as you apply for your project. In terms of your sector experience, it also prompts you and gives you some questions and explains what it is that we're looking for in terms of sector experience within the section. And of course, most important probably for this part of the project is the job opportunities that your project is able to create. At this point, again, you can save your application, or you can click to next. I'm going to click to next so that I can take you to the next portion of it. So just a second. So as we get to this portion then, which are the project activities, we're asking you here for so these are activities. When does it start? What are you doing at what particular time? What are the actual activities now that are taking place within your project? So it says fill in all the main project activity fields and then click the add button and repeat the process to add additional activities. So take note. So you can put you can put the first activity here, then you click add, then you'll be able to put another activity and you'll be able to click add, and you'll be able to put in all your activities in this way. So just take note of this and just read this very carefully. So where will the project take place? When will it start? When will it end? What are the expected outcomes? And then you add. And then you go into the core team. So here, who's your core team? So if you remember on the page before, I put my name in here. At this point, you can edit this name, or you can just simply remove Eugene as a person on the application, okay? And then it removes that, or you can just add then different people that you want to add in terms of the core team that are working on the project. This section talks to budget. So it is not necessarily to complete all classifications, only those relevant to your project and its particular stage of development. When you click the save budget, the save button rather, the budget will total. So here you put in your budget costs, so for example, your salaries, you put in the amount, you put in lighting as an example, you put the amount, whatever other project costs there are. And then once you have finished this, this would automatically calculate the costs for you. And then here we're asking for other sources of income that have been confirmed. If you don't have any other sources of income, you just don't fill in the section. List previous NAC, DSAC funding, so funding that you have received either from the National Arts Council or the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. You put that in. Have you fully accounted for your project? Either yes or no. Now, let me explain this. If you are funded in the current year at the NAC, of course, by all means apply, and you just say it is not yet fully accounted for because it's a current project that is running. You will not be disqualified for that because we understand that you are funded by the NAC. So answer this honestly because you're not going to be disqualified. You may, however, be disqualified, of course, if you've never reported for funding that you received last year or the year before, because then that means that, you know, you're probably unreliable. So, but if you have a current existing project, by all means, please account for that. If you've also got an outstanding one, maybe there's an explanation for why you've not fully accounted for previous year's funding, let us know, because then you probably would be disqualified on that basis as somebody who will not be able to report for the project. And then finally, this is the uploads page. Please take note, insert the correct information here. So it says, certified copy of an ID document not older than 3 months. You choose that file and you upload it. Now, my apologies. Now, obviously, if you submit a blank document or another document, just so that you can complete the application form, this is not to your benefit. And we've seen that when we go into an uploads file, Sometimes we see the same document uploaded in every single category. That just disqualifies your application. So take note and be careful as you complete that. Once you have completed this process, you are then able to submit your application. If you've not clicked submit at the end of this process, all we see is that you have registered, but you've not completed your application, you've not submitted it, therefore we have not received your application. At this point, I'm also going to ask that applicants take note of the closing date. So often on the very last day of applications, everyone wants to submit their applications on the last and closing date. And then people call frantically, I can't upload my stuff. I don't know what's going on. So just take note for yourself if you want to be calm on that last day. Preferably don't wait for the last day. There's sometimes system glitches. Your application won't be submitted to the NSC. You will not get funding. You would not have submitted an application. So just take note of that and let's work a little bit more efficiently.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, colleagues. Auspulem, please unmute.
Yeah, thank you. Eugene, are you done?
Sure.
Have you come to the end of the presentation, hey?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, the moment that we all have been waiting for, creators, industry players, activists, academics, self-taught artists, this is your platform. On my side, I see Philip Dikota having a hand up, or can I ask our PMs to then direct me in terms of the hands that have been raised, because now it's the time where our participants can now ask as many questions and short to the point, and we'll try by all means to answer also short to the point as well. So I see Philip Dikota. I don't know, PMs, am I correct? Should we ask him to unmute himself and ask a question?
Yeah, I just unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you very much, Philip. Yes, you can go ahead. And second,
thank you very much.
Raf will then be next after you.
Okay, I just have two questions. One, can I, for this PSP round of funding, can I apply for NFVF? And because I have a variety of projects, can I apply for NFVF and for the NAC? And would there be a conflict there?
Sure.
And then the second question from my side is the 50% funding, like where we explaining it. So in the application, do I have to include non-opportunity like costs? Because you said it's mostly to create those opportunities, but those opportunities are just a guide for the budget, and then 50% can be spent on other project-related expenses. So I'm asking, in the budget, do I have to add the potential 50% expenses that I'm anticipating to incur, or I just keep the budget limited to the opportunity, the human expenses, the debt? I'm just trying to understand that part of the entire thing. And then I think that's all I'm looking at, because there's expenses where like I need to rent this type of material or this type of stuff or technology, and I don't know how I'm going to go around. Do I put it in there? Do I not put it in, since it's not gonna determine if I get the thing? I don't know. Yeah, please help us be as clear as possible there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. I think your first question just gave me a headache immediately. I'll try and attempt to answer it. And Eugene, please, I would ask you to also assist in with this question. Can you apply in both entities, which is National Film and Video Foundation and the National Arts Council of South Africa, for different projects? I assume you can. you can apply. However, I want to also emphasize and make you aware that you can apply, also have multiple files active between two streams, first stream and also second stream. So it will depend who responded first, because I don't think NAVF, National Film and Video Foundation, and us will respond at the same time. Eugene, can you please assist when it comes to that one? And the expenses, it's quite technical, Eugene. I would really appreciate that you also assist with the 50% costs.
Thank you very much, Puleng. Yes, you can apply to the NFVF and you can apply to the NAC. In terms of the expenses, yes, please let us know what other expenses you will have on your project, because once we come and we start monitoring your project, we are going to want to see how much of the budget you have put towards your human resource costs, which must be at least 50% of the full budget. And we will also want to see what portion of the budget you have allocated to your project costs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Philip, I think we've tried to cover as much as we can. By thumbs up, please indicate if you're happy.
I think everything is clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Philip.
Hello, Chair. Can I
now move to
three? And then
Sorry?
can I suggest that we take 3 questions and then move after Philip, Thandi, Atlas, and then there's Nerissa for now, and then we'll come back to Bushebengose and David Cock.
Okay, but according to my list, the second person was Raf.
What was it? Oh,
yeah, and I've noted Raf.
Right.
So can I ask Raf to ask a question and then order Zola? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, colleagues. Good morning. My question will be very brief, straight to the point. I'm trying to check in terms of communication.
Raf, we lost
the
you.
application is not successful, communication will be done.
Raf, we lost
Hello?
you a bit. We've lost you a bit. Can you please repeat your question quickly?
All right, my question is based on communication. Is communication going to be done even if your application is not successful? Because you'll find that maybe we apply for funding in the NAC, then communication is not done, even if your application is not successful. So if the application is not successful, are you going to get back to us, maybe tell us what went wrong and so on?
Definitely, we will respond. We will definitely respond to both successful and unsuccessful applicants, and we will, for those who are unsuccessful, we'll have an appeal process that you will follow, and that will be communicated very clearly when we communicate both the outcomes. Thank you. We can now move to the order. Zola, the third person, who was it?
Yes.
Yourself, Zola?
Yes, thank you. Can I continue?
Hello. The third, yes, it's Thandi Petwa,
Yes,
and then
Okay, Thandi.
yes, Atlas Duma.
Atlas
Yes.
Duma. Okay, let's allow Thandi. Thandi, you can unmute and ask a question.
Yes, thank you, thank you. My name is Thandi.
Thandile.
Yes, I registered correctly. I have two brief questions. The first one is, can my project run from December to February rather than January to March? Is that allowed? Yeah, that's the first one. Okay, thank you.
Just to make it short, yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you. The last question is, am I allowed to pay differently? Because artists come in different categories. You would have maybe a national artist who's seasoned, having a band that he usually pays even half of what he's earning. So in my payment for job opportunities, is it possible that I categorize as well job, job opportunities?
If I'm getting you, Gahle Tandi, you are asking if you have to give titles of the opportunities. If it's the singer, dancer, or please clarify that part.
Yes, if I would have a project that employs, for example, someone who performs with a band, so it becomes 5 opportunities now. But the one is the band leader who is more seasoned, and in category, he's more seasoned and normally earns much better than the band members. So am I allowed to pay that seasoned artist more in terms of the amount than the band members, as it is usually the case?
Buleng?
Yeah, you can go ahead, Eugene. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tandi, yes. So for argument's sake, you've applied for 50,000 rands, for argument's sake. You would be able to pay one artist 30,000 rands, for argument's sake, over the 3-month period, and pay the other artist 20,000 rand. So yes, you'd also be able to work that out depending on who the people are that you are working with, but all you can apply for is 25,000 per person. But you would, for argument's sake, like I've just said, you've received 50,000 rand, so you could make the determination that person A is, for example, within a 30,000 rand category, for argument's sake, so you'd be able to pay 30,000 rand to that person and maybe pay the balance to person B. So absolutely, you'd be able to work that out within your own costs. Of course, keeping it fair and decent as much as possible. So yes, absolutely, you'd be able to work that out in your proposal.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We can now move to Atlas. I trust you are happy, Tandi. We can now move to Atlas. Atlas, please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much, Buleng. Greeting to everyone. We appreciate your presentation. It was very informative. Well, my name is Atlas Duma from Zagea Foundation. I tried to complete that form, the GMS form. But when I was like focusing on the wage subsidy, stream 1. But my question is that even if you are applying for stream 1, but the form is taking you through in such a way that you must also put the information with regards to the project. So it asks you which project you want to implement. So that's why I just got confused as to now I am just applying for wage subsidy. But now why I'm being asked to complete the information that regards to the project. So that's my question. And another question was a little related to the question asked by the previous speaker, or I can say someone who asked a question before me, is related to the fact that can we possibly employ someone from other country? Maybe this person is coming to implement some sort of a workshop through the project that you are doing. Is the fund allows us to pay someone from another country? So those are my 2 questions that I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Atlas, for asking very important questions. Eugene, the questions regarding the projects on the applications a bit confusing. Can we clarify that? Or maybe if it's an error, we can try and fix it.
So yes, definitely that sounds very much like an error. It shouldn't be asking you that question. I'm going to therefore ask Zola, can you kindly take the previous person's name and we're going to try to find your email address from this response, and then we're going to get back to you. What we have to then do is just go through this application. Thanks, Ola. I see your thumbs up, and see why it's asking you to do that. Perhaps it's a glitch, because if it's in stream 1, it should just be related to your human resource costs and the people costs. So we'll check what the issue is with that. We'll respond to you directly. And when we place our responses to these questions raised in this meeting, we'll also have the full response to that question available on the website. So if anyone else has that issue, you can go back onto the website, download the questions that would have been raised in the session, and see how we've responded to that. In terms of whether this, so I'm hoping that that fully and adequately addresses question 1. In terms of question 2, about whether you can put on facilitators, workshop hosts from other countries, unfortunately not. This call is aimed at assisting South Africans and granting wage subsidies to South African applicants. Non-South Africans cannot apply to this, and as South African artists, we cannot apply for foreign participants of the program. We ask you to look for South African facilitators and let this program benefit South African artists. Thank you very much. Thanks, Atlas.
Thank you, Jean. Atlas, by thumbs up, please indicate you're happy. Thank you very much. Zola, do you want to guide me? Because according to my screen here, I have Hendrik, Nikki, and Mamon.
Okay. Okay, the next one was Nerissa. I'm not sure if she wants to continue, because it looks like she's clapping hands. And then the following one will be Buhle Benkosi and Luyanda Etyane, and then David Cobb.
Okay, Buhle Benkosi, or should we still consider Nerissa? Or Nerissa, by thumbs up, you can just indicate you're happy, then we can move to another question.
No, I am still here. I still want to emphasize on what I suggested.
All right, thank you. Nerissa, you can go ahead.
About you mentioning that you would give each individual or whomever has bidded the results before the closing time. So my question and my concern is, therefore, what would be the criteria that you'll be using? Because it would look like you already know where you are channeling this whole thing to, but when you wait for everybody to submit their documents, at least that gives us all as applicants the satisfaction of saying we have all bidded equally and have been given equal chance. Unlike when I say, for instance, I submit my docs tomorrow, my application tomorrow, and by next week, Monday, I know my results, unless I have missed something, but I think I've picked up something like that on the slides, saying the earlier you submit, the sooner you get your results. So I'm quite concerned with that. It's like you are channeling us into something, whereas you already know whom and what do you want exactly. So please clarify me on that. Thank you.
Okay. Eugene, I'll try and attempt to answer the question. Nerissa, and I think I'll just state exactly what I said to Raf, because Raf was asking if we will both respond to successful and non-successful applicants. And I said, yes, we will definitely submit the outcomes to both applicants. Number 2, I don't know how you understood the presentation. The streams have 2 different deadlines. So what we're saying is that we will definitely respond to both streams. And the reason why we're trying to be safe by saying from, the outcomes will be from, so that we then give you the information correctly on time. But Eugene, I think you can then explain it better when it comes to the outcomes, because I don't think we're trying to headhunt anyone. Everyone will compete. As long as your compliance is there, we'll all take your application to the panel. There's a panel of chairpersons, and there's also 5 panels that are going to go through each and every application that has complied, whether as an individual or an organization. According to its own merits, we will definitely give a deserving attention and we'll give a proper response. So Eugene, you can, and Lindy also indicated that she would want to respond. Maybe let's give Lindy a chance to respond, and then we can move to you, Eugene.
I just want to allay fears by saying it's not, this funding is not on a first come, first served basis. The deadlines are put there so that we are able to achieve or meet our deadlines. Our timelines are very strict. So there's not going to be, it doesn't mean that those that have been reviewed first, they stand a better opportunities than the ones that come last. It basically means that we have to deal with work in batches or in manageable chunks so that, and we're able to say by the end of December, everyone is happy. By the end of March, we have committed, we have monitored projects. There's just a lot of work, and every step impacts on the other. So it's not to say those that have come through first, they stand an advantage of any sort. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Sis Lindy. Well explained. Eugene, if you want to add, you can add, or you can just give me a thumbs up to say you're happy with our responses.
I think the applicant asked the question perhaps slightly differently. I think what the participant rather is asking is, when they apply, immediately can we let them know that they are not successful? No, we will not adjudicate and let you know week by week whether you've been accepted or not. How it's going to work is if you apply in stream 1 by the closing date, which is 20 November, you will be notified, everyone will be notified, successful and unsuccessful applicants will be notified from 1 December of the outcome of their application. That's for stream 1. In stream 2, we've split it because what we're trying to do is we're trying to avoid the last minute rush. So we can be sitting with 1,000 applications, for example, this week, and then by the closing date of 27 November, suddenly we have 20,000 applications. So the reason why we split it is for that reason. Number one, that people apply early, that those who apply then, and so we're giving you an incentive. So if you've applied by 14 November in stream 2, your outcome will also be released by the 1st of December. However, the closing date is 27 November. And so then if you apply after the 14th of November, your outcome will come through from the 21st of December. So you'll get your outcomes pretty late in December. But what we will not do is we will not give weekly updates. So as we adjudicate, we see that you're already unsuccessful and we notify you. We'll notify you at the end of the process, whether you've been successful, whether you've been unsuccessful by the dates that we have put. So 1st of December and 21st of December will be the dates that all outcomes come out for each of the streams.
Thank you very much, Eugene. It's very clear. Nerissa, by thumbs up, you can indicate you are happy. Thank you very much, Nerissa, for asking those questions. They're very, very important for the benefit of everyone. Now we can move to Kosi Edward.
Yes.
Can
you kindly mute yourself?
Oh, thank you, Zola. Olani, please mute yourself. Buhle, you can then ask your question.
Good morning. My name is Buhle Kosi from Joburg South. I want just to find out, in fact, the clarity. I know you've spoken about it in terms of applying for multiple projects. For example, if let's say I apply on the stream 1 and also on the stream 2, if I apply for a private for SMEs and also for NPO, do I still is it still okay in that case? Then also I want to know in terms of creating employment, is there a certain required number to say you need at least to create job, 1 job or 2 job or something like that? I just want to know, just get a clarity on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Buhle. Your questions are very, very important and they keep coming in all the previous sessions we've had. Eugene, do you want to answer? The first one, it's yes, double yes. We had our thumbs up, me and Eugene. So I don't know if you want us to explain it further. Eugene can tackle that one. And the second question, Eugene, do you mind assisting on that one?
So yes, you can apply to both streams, and then in terms of the number of jobs, so no, there isn't a limit. However, you just need to bear in mind that the opportunity for stream 2, for example, is 25,000 Rand. So if you have 2 jobs, you'd be able to apply for 50,000 Rand, 3 jobs, 75,000 Rand, 4 opportunities, 100,000 Rand. I hope I'm understanding that question properly. But there's no limit. So you can apply for 1 opportunity, you can apply for 20 opportunities. There's no limit. I hope, Zola and Andrew, can you just give me a nod? Have I captured the response properly?
Yes. The second question was about the number of opportunities, that's all. So I think you've answered it, that there's no limit, as long as the participant can justify the number of job opportunities. And I think we're fine with that one. Buhle, by a thumbs up, you can indicate you're happy or you still want to ask more questions. Thank you. Now we can move to another question. Zola, I would read.
Luyanda and then David.
It's who?
Luyanda, Tekyane, and David.
Luyanda. Okay, Luyanda, please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. Can you all hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. Okay, so I've got 2 questions. The first one has a sub question to it. On the application form, so I'm applying for stream 2, and on there it requires us to make sure that when we fill out the form, we address the the criteria that have been listed: artistic merit, creativity, innovation, etc. I just need you guys to please clarify for me the economic spin-off and the legacy component, because my understanding from an economic spin-off is once I have formulated my project, in my thinking, I'm looking at it from a revenue perspective as well as from a marketing perspective. Is that what you guys are saying? And are you going to what's the word? Grade us on whether or not we have the ability to generate revenue or generate a marketing? Are we able to create momentum for your project through marketing means? Is that what you're trying to? I'm trying to get understanding and clarity from those 2 criteria. And from a legacy perspective, is that about the messaging around your project? Is that what that's about? Because my particular project is addressing a particular messaging and a particular state of affairs in the country in terms of what I want to achieve. That's those 2 questions. And then my second question is around insurance. Now, what I want to know is what should we do during the project as we are working, let's say, between January and March, in order for us to provide you guys with consistent feedback on the progress of the project and its actual completion? Are we to draft a report, or are we to have, or do you guys have some kind of a system or mechanism for us to demonstrate or show that there is progress and we are actually going to be able to complete, in order for us to make sure that we don't either waste the funds that we're getting or we are not mismanaging the funds in any shape or form? Thank you.
Thank you, Luyanda. You've asked very important questions. Eugene, I saw your head shaking, nodding. Do you mind? Go for it.
Thank you, Puleng. In terms of the economic benefit, what we're wanting to understand is, so if you apply for argument for 100,000 Rand, does this project make sense within 100,000 Rand? That's number 1. Are you creating the number of opportunities that are required for 100,000 Rand, for argument's sake? So that's what we're looking for in economic benefit. What we have seen are very, very ambitious projects, for example, where somebody requires, let's say, 50 million to run a project, but only 2 or 3 people are going to be employed through that process. So we just have to ask ourselves the question, does this make sense in terms of the money that, well, it's not our money, but the country's money, it comes from the presidency. Does this project make sense within the budget that you've requested? That's number one. Are the number of opportunities for the amount of money you're requesting, does it make sense? So if you come in, you ask for 100 million, for example, of funding, but you're only creating 5 opportunities, it might be a great project and can be run by 5 people, but you're creating the number of opportunities within 100 million are too low. And the project might be fantastic, but does it make sense for the money that we're putting through for this? Because then I would rather take 100 million that's able to create 1,000 jobs and put that money there. So what is the economic benefit in terms of how this money is going to be spent? So it's that we're looking for. And I see you nodding, Leander, so I'm hoping that I've answered that question properly for your benefit and for everybody else. In terms of legacy, what sort of what's left behind after this project? We see a number of projects, great projects come through. It comes through, it's done in a day. We have a workshop. Look, and you can apply for workshops, obviously, in this program. But and it doesn't mean you're going to be disqualified because we're not seeing that legacy aspect come through in your project. But what we also want to see the sector do is to use this opportunity, maybe to kickstart other initiatives, to use this almost as a platform, as a bouncing board, to be able to move on to something else with other funding at a later stage. But it certainly doesn't mean you're going to be disqualified because it doesn't do that. But if it does that, perhaps there's more interest in the program, in the project that you're submitting for. So so what does it leave behind? What is its legacy? Is it a women's program, for example, that when you do this now, is it a youth program that you're going to use this as an opportunity now, but a year later, 6 months later, 5 years later, there's still spin off from what you did now, and that you continue to support, or that women continue to benefit from what you've done now, that youth continue to benefit from what you've done now. That's what we mean by legacy, but it doesn't mean that you will be disqualified if your project is unable to demonstrate that in its proposal. But obviously these are the kinds of programs that are very interesting and enticing. In terms of the reporting, yes, particularly for Stream 2, you're going to be given your funding in 2 tranches. So we receive your application, you are approved for funding, you sign a contract with the National Arts Council. We tell you when your first payment is going to be made, when your second payment is going to be made. Once you've received your first payment, because this is running very quickly, a month later, we're calling you and we're asking you for a report. So here we're looking for you to tell us how far have you gone with the project, let's say from January to end of Jan, early Feb. Where are you with the project? Are you achieving the goals, the milestones that you've set for your project? And we're going to ask you for a midterm report. And then at that point, we are then going to follow up again for a final report a month later. So it will be early in March. We're going to say, now early in March, give us another update. How far are you towards completion of this project? What's left on the project to be done? And then we're going to release your last tranche of funding. So that's how we're going to do this. So there'll be 2 reports that will be done, mid-progress report, and then a final report so that we can release your final payment. So Stream 2 will be done in 2 payment tranches. Thank you, Leander.
Thank you, Eugene. Leander?
Thank you, Eugene. Can I just ask for Eugene to clarify something in what she said in the economics spin-off or benefit? Eugene, if indeed we are then to create, I understand the whole beneficiation around job creation, but I'm curious, are we then allowed to use the projects that are being funded by you guys for us to generate our own income in order for self-sustain? Because I don't want to, for instance, get money, create a project, and then not be able to generate income for the project or for ourselves in order for us to keep going, because we only have a deadline of 31st March. And some of our projects are definitely, they have to go beyond that. And because we don't know if we're going to get any kind of support later, are we then allowed to market and literally find a way to create an income from the project in order for us to self-sustain? I think that's where I need clarity on. Thank you.
Absolutely, Luyanda. So use this opportunity to create opportunities going forward 6 months from now, 4 months from now. Market your project. Use this as a platform to really be able to generate further income if that's what you're able to do. Because often we see projects come through, they rely solely on this funding. But if you are able to run a project where you use the funding that you're being allocated in this program to generate further income so that the project can continue beyond this particular funding, absolutely. In fact, we encourage that, but we know that this is a challenge often for the sector because of the nature of the work that we do. So we perhaps don't apply too much emphasis on that, but if we're seeing projects that are able to do that, absolutely, definitely, this is what we want to see. This is the kind of creativity and innovation we want to see. Market using this funding, create further income, whatever money you make out of this for the project to continue. We do not ask for that. We do not ask for a portion of that. This is for your project to continue beyond its funding. So absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you, Eugene.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Leanne.
I think I would really want to cut the conversation. I know it's an exciting moment, and I'm sorry. We've got a lot of questions that are still coming through, and I've seen David. Thank you, Eugene, for answering. And I believe, Luyanda, you are partially satisfied or you are completely satisfied? Thank you. Now we can move to David. According to my list, Andrea, do you mind guiding me? I have David Kok, and I think David has been doing thumbs up, but I think he's trying to ask a question. He's trying to raise his hand. So, David, do you mind unmuting yourself? Or you're satisfied? Some of the questions have been answered.
No, I'm still here.
Okay, thank you, David. You can go ahead. And then after
thank you very much.
David, short one. After David, Andrea, you can guide me. I have Hendrik.
Hendrik, and then if we can add Timo and Norma Zulu.
Okay, we'll have Kim. Okay, David, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the platform. I'd like to greet everyone and say thanks to all the speakers. What a lovely platform for all of us, including the initiative itself. I believe most of the questions that popped up, some of us, we shake hands, we give thumbs up on it because it's actually relating to answering some of our questions. Now, mine is just basically clarity. We are having a project, and I believe it is broken up into 2 phases. It will definitely finish up prior the deadline of March, so it will be split into 2. Now, my question is now coming to the funding. As I've gotten my answers throughout the questions that came up, we'll have to then apply in stream 1 as well as in stream 2, maybe twice or maybe once. It depends on how it will turn out. Now, once the first one finishes, because it's actually identical project, it's just a follow-up. So coming from the last speaker, which was Luyanda Techana, that ongoing and self-generating to keep on maintaining yourself, generating funding for continuation, I was answered in that one. So thanks for that, Eugene. Now, my question now comes to the project itself that we are running is more youth-based. So some of the youth are, how can I put it, age-wise, they qualify, they can be paid. But now some of them are younger. They are not within the age range of, how can I put it, being beneficiaries. So in this instance, do we then make use of the guardians, or is it paid then straight to the organization, and then the organization then just see how best they can assist and support those youth to can either make it to where the project is happening or how it takes place? Or I just want your guidance on that one. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, David. Eugene, do you mind taking that one?
David, obviously, as you know, under the age of 18, you cannot apply for funding. If an organization is applying where people under the age of 18 are going to benefit, that is absolutely allowed. You perhaps have to show consent from a guardian if you are the organization that's applying on their behalf. If I'm not sure what kind of work it is that you do, but yes, absolutely. So you know, young people under the age of 18 would be able to benefit from this. Of course, they cannot apply. And if you are applying for people under the age of 18, you just need to make sure that you have the correct consents in place to be able to work with young people on the program. I hope that answers, David.
Yes,
David?
and I want you to just follow up on it. If it is split into two, because the one half of it, one sector of it finishes, let's say we start in January now, it finishes somewhere in January, first week of February, and we kick off with the second phase of it. Is it still in the same marking space, or should I again apply twice in stream 2? That was my actual question.
Oh, I get you. Apply for the entire, if it's one type of project that has two portions of it, apply for it in one application. Look, you can also apply for it twice, you know, so you apply for part 1 and then you apply for part 2. But I think it's nice just to see in the application sort of your phase 1 and your phase 2 coming together at the same time in the application. And then you say in phase 1, this is how much is required. These are the activities that we're doing. This is the budget for it. And this is the budget for phase 2. And this is the budget for phase 3. Absolutely. We would still pay you, however, in 2 tranches anyway. So let's say your phase 1 is 100,000 and your phase 2 is 50,000. We'll pay you in 2 tranches for 150,000 Rand, and not for each phase. So one tranche for phase 1 and a second tranche for phase 2, we would give you in 2 tranches for the entirety of the project.
Okay, then sorry to cut in on that one. Good answer. I like that one. Then, okay. Then
David, you have to move.
Okay, sorry.
The last one, David, and then we can move on because we've got people screaming to be
yes,
taken
thank you very
note
much.
of. Yeah?
For the stream 1, as the project manager, also from my compensation, I then qualify then to apply in stream 1, and then stream 2 will then for the project.
Yes, so you're applying for job retention in stream 1, very different. So you can apply for yourself in stream 1 to get a salary, and you apply for yourself as a project manager in stream 2. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm covered.
David, thank you so much for the questions, and please make use of our dashboard, emails and phone calls whenever you will have your questions a bit later. We can now move to Hendrik. Andrea, please assist me. I have Hendrik on my screen and Mamulehe. And all and all. Please, Hendrik, there's so much noise background. Are you asking a question, or you move into another room, or should we move to another participants, or should we wait for you, Hendrik? Okay, while we wait for Hendrik,
Hendrik.
You've muted yourself.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you, Hendrik. Welcome.
Good morning, Galabo. Thank you so much. I have a brief question, actually 2 questions. One is, it's regarding AMA documents that needs to be uploaded on the system. Ne? I'm applying for an individual application. So I see you need company documents, and also you need tax clearance. So is the tax clearance an individual tax clearance or the company's tax clearance?
Okay. Is that the only question? Can I ask?
No. And number 2, the second question is that I needed clarity. Sorry.
Okay. Can I answer it quickly, because it's very easy?
Yes.
And I think everyone is also asking the same thing. For individuals, if you're applying as an individual, all the documents which needs to be attached should be by the individual. For example, Hendrik Munyeki. Should be Hendrik Munyeki, tax clearance should be Hendrik Munyeki. Same as the organization. If you're applying as, let's say, Hendrik Ltd, Pty, whatever, all those supporting documents should have the company name. So I hope
it's confusing me, because you also need company documents And if those are my company's documents, they're not in my name, they're in my company name. So hence I was kind of, confused. Do you need my tax clearance, my personal tax clearance, or my company's tax clearance?
If you decide to apply in both streams, right? The first stream, which is you maybe decide to apply as an individual. If it's you're trying to be Hendrik Munyeki, all the documents should be Hendrik Munyeki. Then if you see organization, the organization name should be attached, should be on the attached documents. For example, if it's Munyeki, Pty Ltd or whatever, Monro or Kapelani or whatever, those documents should have the organization name.
Now I'm confused, Buleng. I tell you, I kid you not, because you need the company's name. I mean, the company document.
When you want, it's when you apply as an organization. When you apply as a company, yes, we will need the company name. But if
maybe I have a different thing. I went to a different system. One of your requirements under the individual, the company documents, you can actually go there quickly now and check. There's company documents and there's also tax clearance. Hence my confusion.
Okay, tax clearance. Can obtain a tax clearance. We will definitely need a tax clearance for an individual.
Yes, that's not a problem. My concern is the company documents that you need under individual.
Okay, we stated there's a bold statement there that says not for individuals. So I don't know if we have to clarify that, because I've seen it also on our presentation, but we need to emphasize that because we've seen a repeated mistake where individuals are giving us company documents as an attached support their compliance status, but yet what we need is under individual, we need individual information, and organization we need information. So, Munyeki, honestly.
Okay, it's fine as long as okay, no, it's fine. I'm okay. Last question is that give us a clarity on the system. Mola Lering, briefly describe the project that you are applying for, address the following issues in your response. I think it's almost the same as the previous applicant's question, but mine are different. I wanted to know that your explanation with innovation, is there any difference between, because according to me, it's almost the same, innovation and new technologies.
Okay.
I don't know if you feel me.
I feel you, brother. Eugene can.
Sorry.
Eugene, please assist.
Sorry,
what's the difference? Clarity. I need clarity.
Yeah, about innovation.
Yes,
repeating that, Hendrik.
I need clarity between innovation. What's the difference between innovation and new technologies?
Okay, so innovation can be, I normally create bangles. However, I'm creating them with different colors and I'm being innovative and exciting and new. That can be innovative. New technologies is, I've been doing workshops or I've been doing theater, in a physical theater. I'm now I'm using new technology and I'm taking my theater on Zoom or on an online platform.
Okay. Okay, no, it's fine. I'm sorted.
Thank you, Monique.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hendrik. We can now move to another question. Andrea, do you mind assisting? I have Mamu.
Mamulia.
Yeah, Mamulia. Can you please unmute yourself and ask a question?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Mamlete.
All right. My question is there someone disturbing us now?
Mamlete, there's a background. I don't know if it's you or others.
It's not me. It's somebody else who's speaking to me.
It's somebody else who's speaking.
It's not me.
I've just muted her.
Oh, no.
Apologies. I've just muted her.
Okay,
All right,
thank
thank
you.
you. My question is, since there is no limit to a number of opportunities that one can create, must I submit the CVs of all the people that I'm creating opportunities for, or do you guys request only a list? That's my number one question. And then the second question I have, if I had already planned the projecting in December the 15th, will the payment be made by then, or it's gonna be made in January? Thank you.
Thank you, Mamelete. Your questions are very straightforward. Eugene, to cut this short, do you mind us answer the questions while I look at the chat?
Sorry, I was also reading the chat at the time that the question was asked. Belen, can you just, I was just responding to a question on the chat.
Okay. Mamelete is asking about opportunities, the number of
opportunity and when payment is going to be made.
She's asking if she has to give a list or she has to put the CVs of all the opportunities that she's trying to create. Mamelete, please.
So correct. No, that's fine, Puleng. So yes, CVs of everyone for all the opportunities that you're creating. Or even just a brief, so not the full CV. So say I'm employing Andrea, she's a dancer. I'm employing Mayenzi, where she's a vocalist, just the brief thing, because then we end up with 50 pages of CVs. So you can just put a profile or biography of all the people you're going to be working with, and if possible, where we can get their ID numbers. In terms of payment will be made by the 15th of January. All first payments would have been made by the 15th of January. So just bear this in mind. So some will most likely receive payment a little bit sooner. So those, for example, that are paid or whose are announced on 1 December, we would then start the process of payment after the contract has been received, and then we would start processing payment. However, we want to finish this process by 15 January. So I don't want to promise it to everyone before then. Is when we're hoping to finish this, because we're working with.
Thank you, Eugene.
Just a quick one.
Okay.
Yeah, through you, Chair. Yeah, through you, Chair. Sorry, just a quick one, because the reason I'm asking about the CVs is because we are planning to create more than 200 jobs, and that's why I'm asking if you guys would request the CVs or just the database. I mean, the list actually with all the ID numbers.
List is good.
List is perfect.
List is good.
So the list is still okay?
Yeah, list is fine.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Can we move now to Owen? According to my list and on my chat, I see Owen, Aubrey, and Paul. Can we ask Owen to unmute himself?
Sorry, Ms. Puleng, can I just cut in shortly? We've had Kemba Ngobeni waiting for quite a while.
Is that Owen asking? Oh, sorry. We've had who?
Kemba Ngobeni.
Claire. Okay.
It's Owen here.
Oh.
I can let me talk.
Because I've already asked Owen to ask. Please, can I ask Owen to be on the floor, and then we can then follow your list, Mayenzi. Owen, then go ahead.
Good day, ladies, and thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. I just wanted to ask, I think something a bit technical, because there's a thin line between creating opportunities, job opportunities, and also creating projects that are giving solutions in the industry. They might not necessarily create opportunities for now, but it's something that is fundamental. For an example, the basic problem of the industry now is the submission to the collecting societies, especially in music, for the artists to gain their royalties. and we don't have a platform or a digital platform that provides them with data that they can produce to collecting societies to prove that their music was played on different radio stations. And this is exactly the project that Rodney is busy with, that will enable all the artists to collect data that is accurate, and then they can collect their society, their royalties from different collecting societies. It is going to benefit the whole industry. It is a fundamental for the whole industry, because if you go to the studio now, create a song, you want to generate income from that song. First of all, you must be able to upload the song so that it reaches the destination, like a radio station that you intend to. For example, people drive from Ofimbaba on Ganda to Joburg just to drop a CD. So now this opportunity will enable, like we're going to be applying online now, even the artists will be able now to upload their music online, and then it will reach their favorite radio stations. It will be monitored also in terms of who is clicking into the music 24/7, and the artist will be given that data. So it will be artists benefiting, but the whole thing is very expensive just to build it and then to maintain it. So I don't know if this falls in your line, because of this will be very important in terms of bringing back the economy. Because of the artists, they don't have money because of they can't collect their monies from collecting societies. Simple reason is that they don't have that data information. So that's why we're putting up the data solution. So I don't know if this thing falls in line with what you guys are looking for.
Eugene, could I ask you to step in?
Hi, Owen. Yes, please send through that or that proposal. It sounds absolutely exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, lady.
Thank you, Owen. We can now move to the second question. Mayenzi, where can I follow your list now? Because according to my screen, I have Aubrey. Is that true? And Pel Mbewe.
Our list is as follows. We have Kema, and then Nomazulu, Letabo, and then Sylvester.
We have who?
Claire Mangobeni, Nomazulu.
Claire, okay. Yeah. Claire, can I ask you to unmute yourself? And after that, Nomazulu.
Hello?
Thank you, Claire. And sorry if we've ignored you for a long time.
No, don't worry. My name is Clemo. Don't worry about it. I know it
is
a lot of people. Yeah. Thank you so much for this meeting as well. My question is very straightforward. I think we've been doing this event. We've been creating jobs for, like, let me say, for the past 4 to 5 years. Been trying to apply with the MG. I started applying for the MGE and all that, and then because of the lockdown, it was not productive, and so we've been doing this event every year on the 24th of December. We call it the night before Christmas. And all of these years, we've been doing all of this event, creating jobs for artists and all that. And we've been sponsoring this event from our own pockets. So I wanted to actually ask in this sense that as much as we are going to do our 5th year event this year, complying to to the regulations, right? I wanted to actually ask: Are you able to actually sponsor it in this year? Like, will this program which we're actually on, does it cover December? I mean, I'm talking about this year specifically.
Yes, Clemo. Just to cut it very short. Yes. Sorry.
So can you hear me?
Clemo?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I was answering very short to say yes, your project does qualify to what we are calling for under stream 2. I don't know, you want to add more question?
Okay. What I wanted to ask, since it's an event that takes place once, it's a day event. So how does the financials work when it comes to that?
For the stream 2, right?
Yes, stream 2, yes. like for a day event, even though
So your project will happen, it's a 1-day event, but there's activities before the day and also after. So you would need to give us a report within those activities. So you will still have a midterm report that you're going to submit to us as to how far you are, and I'm sure it will be after the event, and also to finalize, you will also give us the final report. So by January, you would finish reporting. So I think you can structure your activities around that.
Sorry, Puleng. I think actually what Clemo's asking is, when will he get the money if he's got an event that he wants to do in December? Na, Clemo?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you've applied, then before the 14th of November, your outcome would have come by 1 December. Chances are that you would probably get your money within December already, meaning that you might be able to implement already in December. However, if you're applying later, it means your outcomes only come out on the 21st. That's quite late now in the month.
Yeah, true.
December. You would probably then only get your funding in January. So there's the risk there.
I totally understand that part. So which means I have to make sure that I apply before the 14th this week.
Try by all means. Try by all means. Then at least you'd be able to get your funding a little bit sooner. But otherwise, if it's for the later deadline, then you would definitely not be paid by the time your event happens.
All right. Now, thank you so much. That's actually something that I was trying to clarify. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Clemo. Can we now move to Noma Zulu? You can unmute yourself and ask a question. Palisa, please tell me how are we doing with time?
Hello. We're already 7 minutes over. So if it pleases the meeting, we can continue perhaps for another, I don't know, Chair, maybe 10 minutes, Chair, but it's up to you.
Okay, we will, Noma Zulu, you can ask a question, but please, hold on. I just want to find out from Andrea or Manziwe, after Noma Zulu, how many questions or how many hands have been raised? Three more. We'll take those 3 more, and then after that, we're done. Okay, thank you. Noma Zulu, thank you very much.
Hello everyone. Thank you for the session. It's been really informative, but I already responded in the chat section saying that I've gotten all the answers from all the respondents and in the chat. So I am fine. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Noma Zulu. Quite easy. Thank you so much. Then we can Andrea or Mayenziwe, can you after Noma Zulu?
Sylvester and Paul.
Sylvester.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I'd like clarity about the 50% of the funding that can go towards
Can you guys hear Sylvester? I've lost Sylvester.
25,000 times
Sylvester,
4.
I'm sorry, you have to start all over again. I've lost you. And I think it's not only me. So can you start from the beginning? Can you guys hear Sylvester? Eugene, can you hear by a thumbs up? No, I can't hear Sylvester. There's a connection problem there. After Sylvester or Letabo. Sylvester, my brother, I'm sorry, we would have to move to another question, then you can come after Letabo. Letabo, can you unmute? I hope we were not going to have the same problem with the connectivity. We really are running out of time. Letabo, please unmute yourself and ask a question. It's your floor now. It's your chance, Letabo. Please unmute yourself and ask a question. Unmute yourself, Letabo. No audio, Letabo. No audio, Letabo. Letabo, I can't hear you. We can't hear you. Do you want to ask, just use the chat to ask a question? We can't hear you. Thank you. Can we move to another question after Letabo? Lost Sylvester, we lost Letabo.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, here, yeah,
Sylvester.
Sylvester, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. You can ask a question.
The project costs. So I'm giving an example here. If I have, say, 100,000 rands, which is going towards the 100,000 rands that you've given me. Or am I applying for an extra 50% on top of that 100,000 rands?
So,
hello?
Okay.
Eugene, I see you nodding. I think,
Yeah.
can you ask,
So Sylvester, we're hearing. Sorry, Sylvester, we're hearing bits of your question, but I think I got it. What you're asking is, so you apply for 100,000 for 4 opportunities. Do you then apply for an extra 50,000 Rand for your project costs? No. So you apply for 100,000 Rand for 4 opportunities. Of the 100,000 Rand, you can use up to, so you can use 50,000 Rand on your project costs. You can use 10,000 Rand on your project costs. It's up to 50%. So at least 50% of what you're applying for must go to human resource costs. We've never had that before. Often we get 15%, 20%, 25% allocated to project costs. For the first time, we're saying you can use 50% of that on your human resource costs. But no, you won't apply separately for another 50%. It's just the 100,000 Rand where you pay your staff. At least 50,000 Rand of that must go towards your staff costs. And then you can use up to 50,000 Rand on your project costs, preferably less, so that more of this money goes to people costs, if possible. But we also understand that projects are necessary and there are project costs, but it won't be a separate amount.
Thank you, Eugene. We can now, Mainziwe, do you want to then guide me with 2 more questions, and I think we can close off.
I think we can close.
Oh, we can close. There are no other questions?
One more person, Pearl. She's the last
Pearl.
Thank you so much. I was about to scream and say there is no closing.
Sorry, Pearl.
It's not a problem.
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much, Pearl.
The thumbs up for a wonderful, constructed and organized workshop. What I want to double check with you ladies is the fact that I've got a 5-year project where I'm working with one of the brands that I represent, and I've got another 1-year project that I'm working on, right? So what I want to double check is, can I apply for the first quarter of the year for the 5-year project, and maybe then apply for the first quarter of the 12 months? And even if because what I'm going to do is I'm going to submit the entire, let's say, for example, 12 million, because you guys said we must go crazy, right? But then I'll show you where then the benefit in terms of when I incept. Never tell people to think outside the box. Some of us really do go outside the box. You know? So then can I just cost my project then for those 3 months and allocate them to the kick-off of the project and so forth? So basically what I also want to double check, like Owen did, my project is actually in telecommunication space, but I use, for example, the likes of Dr. Winnie Mashaba as the brand and the face and the partner in this business, right? So indirectly we are creating employment, but more importantly is a longevity in terms of Dr. Winnie Mashaba's brand herself, because we're not only focusing on her being an artist, we're focusing on her being a businesswoman. And for example, when I say we've got a 5-year contract, that means for the 5 years, we will actually obviously be having people in the office and people on the ground. And yes, this might not be specifically for the arts and culture space, but we are actually sustaining the ambassadors or people in the arts and culture space, and therefore turning them into business people. I don't know if that's making sense.
Eugene, to hit it as fast as Pearl did, I would really appreciate your input on this one.
Pearl,
thank you, Pearl.
As long as your project... So I would have the Pearl right to that darling. Pearl,
Yes, Eugene.
as long as your project falls within the arts, culture, and heritage sector, we will consider it. So you're saying that it's a long-term project you're wanting to apply for the first quarter, as long as there are activities that are taking place within the first quarter, jobs will be created within the first quarter. Absolutely, that's fantastic. Short answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, much appreciated. Now you can close.
Very informative. Now we can close. Thank you, Pearl. I think you can take over and be the chair. Really appreciate. In the absence of Andrea, Mayenziwe Zola, and Nolita, I think we've captured all the questions. And I think in the absence of any other questions, I would like to end the meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for making the time. You could have been anywhere else, and you brought your pretty faces, and your inputs are very valuable. If you still want to criticize us more, use our dashboard. You want to email us any questions, there will be questions, of course. During the time when you think and engage with the documents, please use our dashboard, use our email, phone us. We have added capacity. So if those of you have engaged with NAC, you will see that we have new names, Zola, Andrea, Mayenziwe, and Nolita, our project managers, who will definitely be assistants. And we have Eugene, who's the senior project manager with the PSP. So we are geared to give you a good service. So please utilize it. And thank you so much for making the time to be with us. It was a very informative session. Eugene, I think I'll then turn it to you to say your thank you. Otherwise, I can move to Lindy to have a very different voice, and we can close the session.
Thank you so much, everyone. Just to say again, we might not have answered every single one of the questions here, but we hope that we've answered most of them. A lot of great questions have come through. We're going to post these on our website by the end of tomorrow so that you can see our written responses to the questions that were raised here. Also take note of our email address, info@nac.org.za, to be able to ask more questions, particularly those that you couldn't ask in the session. And just know that we are available and we are here to support you. You'll also have access once you send your emails to info@nac.org.za to our project managers. We'll forward those emails to our project managers so that they can answer some of the more complex questions. I think you've seen our project managers here, Sala, Andrea, Nolita, and Mobile. So you'll be able to have good access to them.
Yeah.
But that's all from me. Thank you so much. Have yourselves a fabulous afternoon.
Thank you so much, Eugene. And yeah, we will then call off the meeting. And thank you very much. And Papama, thank you. I want to extend my gratitude towards you as a panel member sessions. And thank you for your inputs. And we hope to we're looking forward to you participating in the next sessions. So on that, everyone, have a good afternoon. And thank you. Palisa, you can now end the meeting.